Hello again. Welcome to my second video in the series of Canadian immigration. Okay, last time we saw that how can we know our expected score if we are about to go for express entry route for Canadian immigration. So I introduced you to this CRS tool, which is a comprehensive ranking system, which is behind this which is actually a criteria behind this express entry system. Alright, so we tried to fill out that that simulator tool using example values. Those values are actually not all of them were example. Actually those were influenced by my personal case. So, and I hope that you guys have tried different options in that tool according to your situation. So if you want a review of that tool, you can always go back to my previous video and have a look at that tool, that how can you reach to that tool through Google search engine. So I expect from you guys that you should do some exercise on that tool by checking different options and fields that and try to find out what works best for your situation. Sometimes you can adjust something in your situation to give you a better score in the CRS or in the express entry. So the goals for today's video is actually to know that, okay, now if somebody has decided to apply for express entry, then how should he or she proceed? What are the steps? So actually it will not be that straightforward that if you have decided today, so you can make your online application in the express entry system right away. It will not be like this. Actually there are some prerequisites in terms of documents that should be ready with you before you can create an express entry profile online and save and submit it, because without those mandatory documents the express entry system won't allow you to save your profile, and subsequently you won't be able to submit it for consideration. Okay, so like I did before, I will show you the screen here, and we will go step by step to see the mandatory documents and how to reach to that document list. And obviously I will only be showing you the official website of Canadian immigration. All the information we will only see from there, and as I say always, that should be your only source of information throughout your whole immigration process. Alright, so here is the thing. In order for you to know that what are the mandatory documents for you to prepare before you will be able to submit your express entry profile, you can get to that page by using search from Google. You can just write documents for express entry. Here is your link, which should be from canada.ca. so this is the official website. Okay, so let's open it. Here, documents for express entry. Now you can see that here is the list of mandatory documents, and there are two optional documents as well. These optional documents, I believe we have mentioned this, that in our last video when we were looking at the CRS tool, that we can have a possibility of provincial nomination, but that is totally optional. Also an applicant may have a job offer from an employer in Canada, but again it may or may not be the case. However, these three things are the mandatory documents for you to submit your express entry profile. So the first one is passport or any travel document that is officially been issued to you from your government. So I believe most of you guys who are interested in this type of procedure have already this passport available, or it will not be a big task for you guys to get the passport from your respective country. The second thing here is the language test results, and the third is educational credential assessment report. In short, we call it ECA or ECA report. Okay, all right, so we have seen the list of mandatory documents. Now I think it's important to mention here that first of all, obviously every document will take some time to become ready for you, right? So let me share you my experience and my advice for you that in addition to the passport, the other required documents is language test and ECA report. So language test and ECA report, out of these documents, the one which takes the longest time is ECA report. So my advice for anybody who is going to prepare his or her documents is to start with the ECA, because normally on average it would take around 4 months or maybe more if there was no investigation and your documents were complete in the first go, there were no confusions on either ends, and your respective university responds to that assessing body well in time, then normal time period is around 4 months. So that is why I always recommend my friends to start with ECA. On the other hand, language test depends mostly upon you. For example, you want to designate 10 days or 20 days for the preparation of the test. After that, when you will arrive for when you will appear in the language test, for example IELTS in most cases, so as right after maybe 15 days, yeah, so as you appear for the test of IELTS, right after 15 days you get your results in your hands, and that is for sure. There will be no confusion in that. So so here is the thing: if you appear for the test before you have your ECA in hand, so you see your English language test validity is for 2 years, so the validity will be expiring, will start to expire from the day your test result has been issued. The validity of this test period is going to starting to go towards expiry, right? So in order to save and to utilize your language test for the longest duration, it is advisable to go for ECA first, and after you submit your documents for ECA and maybe take 1 or more months for preparation for your language test, and appear at your convenience when you are fully confident that you can do well in your IELTS exam. So having said that, let us just go and see that what are the basic steps that you would need for to file your ECA application, and which bodies are designated for this purpose. All right, so from this page of the documents, we can just go to ECA report page, and from here we will go and see that how to find out which bodies are designated to perform this assessment. And these assessment bodies are designated by Immigration, IRCC Canada. So you can be assured that all the bodies, all these designated bodies which are mentioned here are perfectly fine, and they have the right to do the immigration assessment of your education. Now as you can see that there are 5 designated bodies mentioned here, and now a little bit of about the designated bodies. Myself, I used this ICA Service of Canada for my education assessment, and nowadays a lot of my friends are using this one, IQAS service, for their education assessment. I know many guys who have done this step with WES. So actually there is a little bit of difference between these organizations in terms of their requirements and in terms of their understanding of any specific country's education system. So for some bodies who understand okay, so out of these 5 bodies, some organizations have more documentation requirements for your specific country as compared to other organizations. So at this stage, my suggestion for you would be to look into each of these organizations one by one and just find out. I mean, you obviously know that from where your university level education is. Maybe it's from your own country or from some other country that you may have gone for education. Okay, so based on that information, you go to the websites of these organizations and try to find out the requirements for your specific case. And my suggestion for you is to select that body who has the minimum or easiest or lenient requirement for the required documents. So as I told you before, myself, I did my ECA. I prepared, I got my ECA report from ICAS, and another good body as per my information and as per the cases that I have seen is IQAS as well. So now you see, up till this point of in your life, whatever have you done in terms of your education, formal education at university level, that may not be changed very easily at this time. Like if you're a bachelor's degree holder, within a short time you may not be able to complete your master's degree, and similar is the case if you are a master's degree holder, you may not be able to get a PhD very soon. So what I'm trying to say here is that you cannot change your education credentials at this stage, but however, education credentials do have an impact on your CRS score. But on the other hand, you see, the language test is one thing in which you can make a difference even at this stage. If you put some good efforts in your language test, so you may have seen in the CRS table by changing the score of different modules, especially in the writing and listening part. If you change the values of those modules, you will find a significant difference in your final CRS score. So my advice is for you to utilize your time and make proper preparation for your language test before you appear for the language test. So let's see what are the language tests that the Immigration of Canada approves. So approved language test. Here they have mentioned for English only 2 type of tests are acceptable. One is Canadian English language proficiency. I'm not very much familiar of this test. Maybe this test is only conducted within Canada. The second one is the most popular and famous, and most of the students and professionals know about this test, which is IELTS obviously. But make sure that there are different versions within IELTS test. So you must select the general training option for your IELTS test that you will be providing in your express entry profile. The other version of the IELTS test is called academic, and the immigration people won't select that score for you to consider as an express entry applicant. Okay, let me just share with you that I also appeared for IELTS general training exam, and my score, I prepared it well for for 3 weeks. I prepared it on each day. I dedicated around 1 to 2 hours for the preparation, and finally my score was like this: 7, 7.5, 8.5 and 9. The modules which corresponds to this score is S for speaking, writing, listening and reading respectively. So for your preparation, what I would suggest to you is sometimes people prefer nowadays to just Google and find the resources for preparation for different type of tests. But you see, IELTS test is like written test. You do it, it's a paper based test instead of a online based or computer based test. So I would advise my friends always that in order to prepare for IELTS, you must prepare it in the same fashion that the exam would be conducted. So since it will be a paper based exam, I suggest you all to get a proper preparation book, paper based preparation book that can be from any famous publisher that you may or may not know, like there can be Barron's, Kaplan, and the Princeton Review is another good publisher for the preparation books like IELTS and other tests like GRE. And there are some IELTS preparation book from Cambridge University itself. So my suggestion would be for you to buy or get a hold of some paper-based preparation book for IELTS and complete it fully. Whatever the book is telling you, do this exercise. First, you go to any module, read about the module, read about the question types, read about the timings for the different section within each of the module, and finally that module section will give you some practice tests, whether it is about listening, reading or writing. So you perform all the things as the book is telling you, and at the end of the book you will also find complete practice exams. You also appear for that and time yourself as you will be timed in the actual exam. So again, like you should prepare your IELTS exam in the same way by keeping the same scenario that you will have during the exam. This is the best way to prepare for your IELTS, and if you do this, believe me, you will perform very well in your IELTS exam. So after you have your mandatory documents ready, you can now proceed to create and submit your Express Entry profile. So we see here in the next step that what you will have. Okay, so there are some guidance for you which we have already seen before. Okay, now here to create an Express Entry profile, now you see. So after gathering all your mandatory documents here, now you will be ready to proceed to the next step where you will create your profile and will be able to submit it. And before you do that, there will be one more requirement for you to determine, but it will not be a document at this stage, but you will need to be determined something before you can submit your profile. So in the next page we will see what it is going to be. Alright, so here, creating your Express Entry profile. This link is for you to go and create your account online. But before you do that, let me tell you that there is something as mentioned here that you will need in order to create your Express Entry profile online. First of all, there are those same documents that we have seen in the previous slides. For example, language test and your ECA report. The another thing that you would need to determine is your national occupation, NOC, job title and code. So determining your NOC is a very important and major step in your Express Entry profile. Now this NOC helps you to convey your past experience to the immigration people in the language that they would understand. This NOC is a Canadian based thing, okay, and your job experience belongs to your country or any other country. So you need to match the job title and the responsibilities that you were doing in your past experiences and come up with a match within this NOC list. So you will find in this link different title of jobs, different category of jobs and their respective codes. So you need to note it down for your own situation. Okay, another thing I would like to highlight here is that while you create your express entry profile, there will be a section which will ask you to declare or select any NOC as a primary NOC, which will hold most consideration of your express entry profile. Now my suggestion at this stage is that you select that code, that NOC, to be your primary NOC in which you have had the most experience in terms of time duration. So if that is your current job, select the primary NOC as your current job. But if you have changed a little bit of your job title or yes, job designation, and your past experience is like maybe 3 years or more, and now your current job title and NOC is like only 1 year, so maybe you can select your primary NOC to be of that job in which you spent 3 years or more. Alright, so this is regarding NOC. This is something you need to do for yourself. Nobody else can determine, because you are the one who have been doing the job. And yeah, so another small thing is that in addition to declaring the primary NOC and the respective job that you have been doing in that NOC, you can report your other jobs as well, and with those different jobs you will have separate individual titles and codes. So if accumulatively your all experience is like more than 3 years already, so this is the highest experience duration that you can count in the express entry to get you the maximum points. If what I'm trying to say here is that you don't need to show much more experience than required, because in the later stage, for each experience that you will report at this stage, you will be asked to provide evidence. So if you can provide evidence, fine, you can report it now. But if you think that it will be difficult to contact a company with which you were working maybe 5 years back, so just don't mention that company here at this stage. Only mention your work history related items for which you can actually provide the evidence in the later stage. Okay, so as a recap, what we have seen today is the prerequisites that one would need before he or she can create and submit his profile. So first, there were some documents to be arranged, and then there was a NOC to be determined for your own case. So once these things you will do, you will be able to create and submit your profile, and at the end of submitting your profile you will get a certain score. Now after that, you see, if your score is above than what the current round of invitations is having, then obviously 100% for sure you will be getting an invitation. Like as of today, yesterday there was one round of invitation on 5th September 2018, and the lowest score was 440. So after submitting your express entry profile, if your CRS score, if your total score is above 440, then you can be sure that in the very next round of invitation as of today you will get an invitation. Alright. However, if that is not the case and your score is less than 440 as of today, so you will not get an invitation. But it doesn't mean that everything is lost. There is another route which you can choose, and that route is called provincial nomination. Now in addition to what you have created now, that will remain as it is, but in order to get a PNP or provincial nomination, you will visit the website of your intended provinces and look out for their provincial immigration procedures. If you do that, you will find out that from province to province there are certain minimum requirements for their immigration programs as well, and in addition to those requirements will not be difficult in terms of what you are already meeting here in the express entry profile, but still the provinces mention those requirements. Another important thing you need to understand that when you will go for provinces to secure their nominations, they will definitely look for your NOC, because provinces send invitations or nominations based on the requirement of occupations that they have. So up till this point, like up till the submission of express entry profile, every occupation is open and welcome to compete in the open CRS pool. But if you cannot compete in the open CRS pool with your existing score and you are going for a province, then your occupation plays very important role. So you need to select that province and you need to select to submit an application of nomination to that province where your occupation is actually required. So this is a tricky part, and that is why everybody, first of all, they try to compete in the open CRS pool, but if not, then they put some more efforts and they go for provincial nomination, and for that they do some more study by going to the website of each province and look out for the occupation and other requirements, and they try to match that. So this was enough of information for this video session, I believe. At the end, I would like to say that if you find this video and information useful, you should be sharing it with your colleagues or friends that may also get benefited from this information. This information is latest, by the way, and obviously this practice of making and submitting the videos will be continued, because there is so much more information to come in the future, especially the information that you would like to know, that if you get the invitation, after that what will be the procedural steps to perform. So I will be posting my new videos very soon, and in order for you to follow up on those, you can always subscribe to this channel, and there will also be a bell type of icon under this video. If you select that, you will also get notifications of my future videos. Another thing I would like to share with you guys is that I'll be traveling to Canada for my first entry within the next 2 weeks. Yes, the flight is confirmed. Obviously it will be a fun part, and traveling is always fun. So I intend to share my travel experience with you guys by making short videos all over the different stages throughout my journey. My intention would be to share my experiences with you for those out there who are potential immigrants to Canada, and sooner or later they will be at this stage as well. So just keep your hopes high, put efforts in your case. You are the best person who can do for your immigration, and nobody else. Just believe in yourself and you will do it right through. So with this, I would like to end today's session, and hopefully I'll be seeing you with my next video, maybe before or after coming back from Canada. Until then, take care.